So in this first video that I'm making, I'm discussing entrepreneurship, how it has affected my life, how I went into it, and what I'd like other people to learn about entrepreneurship and being a business owner, basically. So it is a long story, and it just means that when you want to go into your own business, there are a few things you need to take into account. Even though some of the times we do go into entrepreneurship not really planning it because of our circumstances. We just go into it. Maybe we see other people doing it, or we go into it because that's what we think our parents would like. So there are different reasons why people do go into entrepreneurship. So for me, I've always known that I wanted to own my own business right from when I was a kid because my dad owned his own business. That's one of the reasons. And I would see him go out every morning with a suitcase. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I want to have a suitcase. And I do have been to his office a few times, as a kid. And he had a secretary and he had a fancy office. And, everything looks so professional. And he would wear a suit. And I was like, okay, this is definitely what I want to do when I grow up. So I went into school wanting to study pharmacy for some reason, even though I knew I wanted to be a business owner. I went into pharmacy because my parents were like, yeah, why don't you be a doctor? Yeah, why don't you do this? So I went into trying to be a pharmacist, but then things didn't work out. I found myself still in the business sector. So I went ahead, did my master's in Europe, and even went ahead to do a PhD in business management. So after that, I wanted to establish my own business after my PhD. So it was a funny trajectory. I'm sure people wonder, why would you want to do a PhD when you wanted to go into business? What's the deal about that? But for me, it was my early marriage years. So I knew I wanted to have kids, and I was looking for a sort of a career that would help me to be able to have kids and be able to basically raise them to when they're able to, go to school or something like daycare or whatever. So I decided to move on with a PhD because I did my PhD in Norway, which is very family friendly country. They would give you a whole year. They gave me a whole year for maternity leave for my first child. And it was really like for my two kids basically. So it was really good to be able to have that. And that definitely encouraged me to want to do a PhD and just basically my early marriage years live that in Europe and just have more flexibility. So I went ahead to pursue a PhD, and when I completed the PhD, I still wasn't ready to go into consulting or to become, one of the kind of business tycoon I had in mind looking at my dad as a kid. So I did try to apply to some consulting companies here in the United States, but most of them wanted 80% travel or even 100% travel. So I'm like, okay, I cannot do this right now. So what do I do? So I've always had my biggest passion for the beauty industry. I always love things natural DIY things, and it looks so cute. Oh, I like this setup. So I started looking into it, and I watched several YouTube videos while doing my PhD, bored and having babies and things like that. So I just was getting a lot of ideas on what to do, because I wanted to obviously be financially independent. I didn't want to depend on anybody. I knew I just wanted to do my own thing. So I wanted to be able to make money at home and, still raise a kid. So basically kill two birds with one stone. That was a goal for me at the time. So I proceeded to start my own business after my PhD. So I did my PhD defense some years after I started a PhD, just because I was delayed with my first child and everything else. Like, everybody thinks going into a PhD is easy. Like, it's not. Like, I know people don't think it's easy, but then some people don't know how hard it could be sometimes, because you start something and then while it's going on, you're like, you don't know if this is a good idea. Would you even be able to finish? Does this even make sense? What kind of contribution are you going to make to the literature, to what we already know? What's this about? People do get discouraged, and many people fall by the wayside. Like, they don't complete it, and I knew I wanted to finish up my PhD. So I was able to do that in 2015. I started in 2020, in 2010, and I completed after 5 years. So getting that in hand, I was like, okay, you know what? Now I'm gonna move on, start my own business. The kids are still growing, and that would just help me to have my independence, have my time, and still have my own business. So I just started a business at the time. I didn't have that much money, but then I just had to do what I had to do, and I started my own business. So now looking back, there's a lot of things that in the end, as a Christian, I do know that all things work together for good, but I just want to point out to some people how starting your own business could change a lot of things for you along the line. So if you're somebody that likes to work with people, you like to see people all the time, you like to chit chat, then starting your own business may not be a good idea because then it's lonely. Like even though I knew I wanted my independence, to raise the kids and make money at home, I knew that yeah, it meant I wouldn't see my friends. I wouldn't chit chat. Like we wouldn't go out I didn't have people to hang out with, like after work, go grab a drink or something like that. A lot of things changed. So if you're wanting to start your business, that's something you should definitely think about. If you like to have many friends, or if you like to, like have a group, a clique at work, then you're not going to have that as a business owner. So even if you have a business where you employ a lot of people, they would still not see you as their buddy because you're the owner. You could fire them at any time. So it's not going to be the same as if you were just an employee in the company. So that's one thing I want people to definitely take into account before they go ahead and start their own business. However, there's a lot of pluses to starting your own business because you still have that flexibility. I mean, if you want to make money, you make money. If you don't want to make money, you don't make money. However, as you proceed in the business, sometimes you could get bored, you could get tired if you want to do something new, and then you have a customer base and you don't want to let them down. It's not very easy to just close your business. Like it is part of you now. So those are things you have to consider. You can't just start it today to end it tomorrow. If you're going into it, it is a commitment. It's like your baby, basically. So it's one thing you need to consider. Like, do your thinking very carefully. Like, do you value that click situation at work? And is it something you want to do long term? So these are just 2 points that I'm raising in this video for a would-be entrepreneur to consider. However, if you find that these 2 things and not things that are very important, and that means you don't want to part with them, then then you need to still consider that you could actually still be you could have an entrepreneurial mindset while you're still working for somebody. So you don't need to completely start your own business to have that independence that being an entrepreneur presents you with. So, but I'll be discussing more of this in other videos. These are just 2 things I want you to think about if you are thinking about starting your own business. And I will be coming up with more tips in subsequent videos. And the like, in the comments, and the share. There are a lot of DIYs. If you're into beauty and other things, just definitely stay tuned because I will be addressing a lot of things.